In this video, we're going to show you the ultimate guide to the Startup Innovation Network so you can raise capital faster and close deals. If you're a founder looking to raise venture capital, if you're an existing investor that's trying to find the best deal, or if you're an aspiring VC who wants to be able to access capital and get paid like a partner within the Startup Innovation Network, this video is for you. Okay, to start, you're going to go directly to the startupinnovationnetwork.com. On our landing page, you're going to be able to click on Join Now. And from here, so you're going to set up and sign up in an account. So it's free to sign up. When you set up an account, I highly recommend using your work email. It's so that way we can verify that you actually work for a company or an investment fund that you claim that you work for. Once you get your email, you're going to get into a screen where you're going to choose the type of user that you'd like to be. If you're an investor, whether you're an angel investor or you work for a fund, you sign up as an investor. If you are a founder who's looking to raise capital, you can start here. If you work for a company, a traditional company, you'd sign up as a corporate member. Keep in mind, in all scenarios, you can also choose to sign up with your regular company role. And if you're an angel investor, we actually have an option where you can switch to an angel investor mode. Or if you're a founder that also is an angel investor, you can have both the founder mode and investor mode. But so once you start entering some of your information about you, in this case, this is an investor's view, you're going to be able to select the different types of industries that you'd like to focus on. You could select the stages that you're interested in focusing on. And I would recommend setting a very specific 10-word or 15-word answer about what you're specifically sourcing. The platform is going to cater to you based on what you're selecting. Now, if you don't want to be associated with a company at all on our platform, you can also just click to become an angel investor, which means we don't associate you with the company on our platform. Most likely, if you are a founder or a startup, we will probably have your company already in our database. So feel free to search for your company. And you can say, hey, this is this company that I work for, enter your job title, and you can finish. If you do create a new company, what you're going to end up doing is you're going to enter your job title, your company name, your website, headquarters, and then your startup category. Now, this is very important because when you pick a specific category, the platform is going to cater to the type of company that you are. So only showing you investors that invest in your category, only trying to show you events that are related to your category, only trying to show research that's related to your category. It's going to help you benchmark and position yourself so you have better success in finding investors. After you've logged in, you're going to go directly to the home page. Now, it's going to look probably blank to you. There's not going to be that much information. It's also going to look slightly different if you're a founder, this is kind of more of the founder view, an investor, similar layout, but slightly different information. But the first thing that I guys want you to jump directly into is I want you to go to if you're a founder, you're going to go to your dashboard. And in your dashboard, you're going to go to your documents that are listed here. And in that document, you're going to click on diligence. And if it hasn't already, if there's nothing there, you're going to create a new due diligence document to start off with. Now, if you're an investor, what I want you to do is I want you to go to the research page. I want you to pick an industry. Let's just do agriculture for the sake of it. Okay. And then in the research page, I want you to go to the startups tab, and I want you to, the first company you're going to see, I want you to go and I want you to click on this plus sign. And what you're going to do is you're going to add that to your dashboard. It'll say add. In your dashboard, your investor dashboard, you're going to see that company. And what you're going to do is you're going to scroll to the right in this document section, and you're going to click on open document. Okay. And for you, you're going to click on diligence the same way. You're going to say create or create your due diligence, or go to yours if you've already created one. And this is what you'll end up seeing. So what is this document right now? This is the due diligence document that's going to be used to prove out why you're a great investment. This is the primary document that we're going to use to craft our story or our thesis. Now, how do we go about building a story or a thesis? We actually have to go through an analysis cycle. And this is what this video is going to do. We're going to go through that together. And as we go through this cycle, we're going to learn together how to use different aspects of this platform. So that way you can be successful in raising capital or investing in great deals. That's the goal here. Now, we have to start somewhere. In order to start, we have to pick a specific industry subcategory. If you're a founder, you already have a company that's listed on a platform. You went through the sign-up process. You had to select a specific category your company is a part of. Now, if you're an investor, I just told you to pick a random company. Whatever company that I just told you to pick, just going to the research page and just clicking on startups and picking one company and then adding it to your database, you'll find that we have the categorizations of companies there. And so you could start with that, or you could pick a different subcategory. It doesn't matter. Once we have a specific industry subcategory that we've selected, now we're going to be able to start the cycle. The first thing that we're going to jump into is the product. And this is the crux. This is the core of what makes you unique. So to start, to get to this point in time, we've already selected an industry subcategory. This is the foundation. If you're a founder, you're already a part of one. If you're an investor and you just randomly selected a company or there's an industry subcategory that you're interested, pick one. Don't pick the entire enterprise infrastructure category. Pick a specific industry subcategory. And the first thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to analyze all the companies in these categories. We're going to have to look through them and we have to understand the value that they're trying to offer to the customer. Like, who are these customers? What are they offering? Why? I like to break it into function, feature, and use case. So let's take the example. We'll do agriculture imagery. Let's say one company is doing pulling satellite imagery. Another company is actually building a high-end infrared camera. Another company runs drones and sources different products to create the imagery. Other people are doing something slightly different. That's kind of how are they getting the imagery. Second is the feature. What other tools that they're adding on top of the imagery that they're providing to farmers that's unique? Maybe it's a marketplace. Maybe it's insurance. Maybe they're doing AI recommendations. Maybe they can take it one step further by being very precise where they have to spray crops, for example. It's the added benefits of the core product. And then finally, the use case. This is, who are we selling to? What is that target market? Is this, farmers in Brazil? Is this institutional farmers? Is this anyone with a backyard that we're trying to get to? How are we selling to them? What are we selling? Is it software? Are we just giving them software for free? And then we're actually just trying to sell, products on top of it or financial services on top of it? What are we actually selling? I want to show you what that looks like, right? So what I want you to do is you're going to be able to select if you're subscribed, you're going to be able to select and kind of drill down but let's just take agricultural software and we're at the startups tab. This, by the way, is example data, so it's not completely correct. But what I want you to do is these are all the agricultural software imagery companies. Go through each one of them. You can click on their profile and see the profile page. You can also just go directly to their website and look at what they offer. Just go through individual companies and say, okay, what is the use case? What are the features? What are the products? And what we're trying to answer in this is we're trying to have and articulate why their product is great. Why is it differentiated? Now, as you start to look through all this information, what you should be starting to fill out is your thesis. Here, we should be able to easily explain why it's differentiated, whether from the function level or the use case level. We could probably start to explain why, for example, Brazilian farmers need this product. What problem is it actually solving? Or at least what are they trying to solve? You might be able to understand how they're actually starting to make money. So what are they selling to people? How are people buying it? Where is money being made here? Now, you actually have the ability to upload a deck if you already created one. And it's going to help you. Once you upload that deck, you actually can go to different sections of this report, click on this AI tool. And what you'll be able to do is you're going to be able to use that to automatically fill in information that's pulled from your deck. I'm going to go back to the investor mode, right? So I just showed you that, hey, as an investor, you can create a document about a company. In your document, you're going to be able to list some of that information in each company, but then you realize, hey, as I'm adding this information, it doesn't seem like it's the best. If you end up adding a new company into your platform, you could just go ahead and create another document for that company. And then we can restart with, okay, what are they doing that's different? Now I'm switching back to the founder view. You have the competitive landscape. You could probably fill this out. So based on the companies that you're looking through, you could go through it. Also, we have it's possible where you can go to our database and directly in here, you can search the database of the companies that you already have or saw, and you can add that into the competitors list. So we've already been able to say, okay, we analyze the companies, we understand some of the unique products, function, features, and use cases. So right now, we should have at this point one company, if you're an investor, one company that you're building a due diligence report on, which you just started. If you're a founder, you just started yours. You should have a very clear, it's very simple explanation of why you're differentiated, and you can give examples why. And we should already have the mechanics of the business already understood. Now, another thing I want to highlight to you guys here is understanding product trends. A lot of investments in the startup world is built around momentum, and we want to be on top of what is the momentum across all verticals. Now, this is a big research page. There's a lot of data that goes into here, which is where money is flowing to in specific industries, what industries you should be paying attention to, where are the exits, where are perspectives, where corporates are investing into, et cetera. So you can play around with this. We have a tab called product trends. So the product trends tab, we actually built it where we have looked through every single individual company that exists in our database. We do the exact same thing that I'm asking you to do right now, which is look through the products and understands a function, feature, and use case. What is differentiated? And what we can actually point out in our software across every single industry vertical is we can say, hey, here's some emerging product trends that seem unique that you should be paying attention to. And we also tried to list the companies that are associated with that, which, guys, you can also click this plus sign and add those companies to your dashboard if that's something that you're interested in. This is a feature that exists for you. So as an example, if you decided you want to select a specific company, you're not quite sure what companies you'd like to work with, go to the product trends page as an investor. Find a random company, add that to your pipeline, start from there. Look at the companies that are in the product trends and what makes them differentiated. Then start to build out your diligence report. And at this point, if you've done all of that work, it's going to be very easy to say, this is the company I'm excited about. Or if you're the founder, this is why we're really excited. And we can explain it by saying, this is why our product is differentiated. And then we can also explain, and this is how we're going to make money that's also maybe unique or just standard within the industry, but this is why we're different. And that story should easily be crafted here in the primary product description. What problems that we're actually trying to solve, how we're actually trying to make money. When we look at the market analysis, who are we actually selling to? And who are all the competitors that currently exist that are doing something similar to us or adjacent to us, et cetera. We just finished product, which means we have a differentiated product. We understand their business model. Now we can move to the market section. The market section is going to be understanding, okay, we selling a unique product. We kind of understand what type of customers we're selling to. In this case, let's say the imagery startup from Brazil. There's a bunch of farmers that we're trying to reach out to. The analysis that we're trying to do right now is just who are all the customers we could sell to? So what does it actually look like? You're going to go move to the market analysis section and we're going to start to fill this out. We've already kind of had the target market built. At least you should, especially if you already looked at what makes the product differentiated. We should know who they're trying to sell it to. Let's use the example that we're just talking about, which is agriculture imagery, even though this is not an agriculture company. So now we got to get to the market size section. And what we're trying to accomplish is how many customers can we sell to? Let's keep it simple. We have a software product that we sell with an annual subscription. How many possible customers could we sell to? Well, let's think about everybody, right? Any small farmer globally that we could sell to. Total software cost per year times all of the farmers. Typically, that people like to think about it as total addressable market, TAM. That's everybody. That's an astronomical number, probably. If it's not, that means you're in a small market size. The next thing you got to think about is the serviceable addressable market size, which is, okay, let's be honest, we are trying to sell to Brazilian small farmers. How many Brazilian small farmers exist? Total number of them times the price of our software per year. That is the total market size if we sold to every single Brazilian farmer. Is that even possible? It's very rare that one software company takes over an entire market. Of those Brazilian farmers, we could probably reach at max in 5 years, 10% of it. So if we, with our resources, with what we're seeing on the ground, this is what we're going to see, 10% of that ecosystem. Total number of those customers times our software description. Now that should be a lot of the information that you should be filling out here in the market size section, especially if you're building out your report. Now, one of the secret sauces beyond just saying, okay, we know these are the market size, is where is the momentum? The momentum is going to be really important because what we're trying to discover is this market growing? Is it contracting? What's happening here that's going to encourage a lot of growth? And this is where we're going to be issuing and putting that data is where's the industry trends? And this is going to be the exciting component for most investors. So in the case of small business farmers, it could be new grants are offered, or a lot more people are starting to farm, or there's a huge demand for some of the resources locally, or weather's changing and it's getting unpredictable. We need new tools that's going to help us as farmers have better crops. There could be a multitude of reasons. We need momentum. We also have to be honest with ourselves. Markets could be contracting and it not be growing or pretty stagnant. And we have to be honest with what are some of the challenges that we need to be aware of. It could be our software might be unaffordable, or we rely too much on government and the government could stop grants going out or subsidies going out to farmers. There could be a multitude of different reasons for your specific industry why that could be a challenge. And these are some of the things that you need to be able to address in your due diligence report. So as you start to fill out the market size and you start to fill out industry trends and some of the market challenges, you're going to be able to start filling in more details about, okay, what are my competitors doing? And you're going to be able to start filling out even more information related to your product. So this is where you can start to build in the go-to market strategy of what you're actually trying to accomplish when you say, hey, small business farmers, there's growth with new grants coming in. We're going to try to build and win by capturing the market by doing this. And that's really what that go-to market strategy is trying to address. And we actually have a whole section called marketing and sales strategy, which is giving you the whole section saying, how are we going to execute? And this is also going to be extremely important for you because what you're trying to communicate to investors saying as a founder and also as an investor when you're evaluating company is you're looking at this and you're saying, they're able to tell me there's an opportunity. They say they have a product. How are they going to go after it? What are they going to do to accomplish that? So what did we just try to accomplish? We just tried to build out a market size where we did TAM, SAM, SOM, and we tried to understand what is the possibility? How many customers could we practically obtain? And what we're trying to understand is this market size large enough for VC? If I'm going to invest in your company now, and I'm going to take a small percentage equity stake, what do you need to grow into as a company over time? And what valuation do you have to achieve? And what revenue do you need to achieve in order for that investment to make sense? We'll get into the financial section. We actually have a calculator so that way, and we'll get into more details about how you can actually measure this out a little bit more. The other thing that we want to look at is whether the timing is right. And then lastly, we're trying to understand, is the competitive path clear? So at this point in time, we have a foundation. We have a great product in a massive market where there's momentum. This is now when we can move on to the next segment, which is the team. So the team is pretty straightforward. Does the team have the expertise to execute? Can they win here? Have they done this before? This is more of just saying, okay, we see the story here. You have a unique product. You see the market size. You're telling me you're planning to capture it. Do I believe you? And this is a little bit more subjective and abstract. Now, this is where we created a section. We have team and leadership, and you can actually kind of break down the founders. But the other real core component that we've created is on the right-hand side, we have built out a way in which you can comment directly on someone's diligence document. And the reason why we did this is so that way you could have this interaction with founders to really gauge out, do they know what they're talking about? Can you give them direct feedback? Our due diligence documents are one-to-one. So it means if you're a founder, do you have the ability to share that with investors? If you're a founder and you're looking at your investor pipeline, you have the ability to give people different access to your documents. There's the access management page where you can click on this lock here and you could pull up all the people that you have shared your due diligence and financial documents to. You can add them, remove them, give them partial access, etc. And even within the documents themselves, you can click on this plus sign and you can share this. I can also manage people who want to look at my document. So this is supposed to help founders and investors collaborate on documentation and make it a lot easier to understand if someone's viewing my document, what is the honest feedback? Now, again, if you're a founder, all relationships here are one-to-ones. The comment section is not viewable by everybody. So this Kyle Investor One can't see Tyler Johnson's comments. But as a founder, I can see everybody's comments in my document in one section and I can interact with them directly. As an investor, can share your document with other investors. If you're trying to build out a due diligence thesis, you have the ability to share your document to the founder so the founder can update your document. It helps you make sure that we're moving through this process quickly so that we can get to a final answer. On top of being able to leave comments, we have the ability to score. So for each section, we can talk about what has been our review. As a founder, we can actually review every single one of the investors' scores and direct feedback beyond just commenting. Now, this is going to help you because you need to get honest and real feedback so that way you can grow. And if you're a founder, you're going to be able to go to your dashboard and you're going to be able to see, okay, what's the average score? How many reviews do I have? What's also interesting if you're a founder is you can actually go to investor profiles and you can see how many due diligence scores they've been giving to other founders. So you can see if investors are providing practical feedback. This is a really great way to showcase to the startup ecosystem that you provide scores. The other thing I kind of also want to highlight, this is the investor view on your dashboard. You can add your due diligence score to your dashboard so you can keep everybody aligned. Now, specifically for investors, one of the things I also want to highlight to you is the concept of groups. Now, startups and investors can create groups together, but investors can collaborate on due diligence documents together in groups. So if you're an investor and you have a team in your own fund, you actually can create your own group on our platform, and you can create a dashboard that you guys share. So here's how you do that. You go to your dashboard as an investor, and then you can move to your group's dashboard, and you can collectively work on due diligence together. If you're a founder, for example, you can actually add groups to your dashboard. So that way you don't have to manage 50 different people that are interested in drone investors in one dashboard. Now, if a group is on your due diligence page, they have the ability, when they make comments, all the group members can see each other's comments. As a founder, you're going to be able to see every individual investor commenting. Individual investors who have access can't see everybody else's comments. If there's a group that's making comments on your platform, all the groups can see other group members' comments. So if we go back to team, this is your way of really feeling out if founders have the ability or have what it takes to be able to make and execute on this product vision. You go and get feedback from people, and they give you that feedback directly in report. That's what we're trying to accomplish here. What's interesting, though, here is coming out of this, you either as a founder, you should be really confident in yourself executing on the mission. And if you're an investor, you got to be able to say, hey, they know what they're doing, they know how to do it, and the plan seems real. Which now we can move on with the rest of the cycle. We've finished the product, we've got to the market, we have a good team. Now we're going to move on to the financials. We got here because we have a great product, we have a huge market with momentum, we have a winning team. Already at this point, you're going to be pretty close to already writing a check if it's early stage, because there's not going to be much for financials. But what are we going to try to do here? We're going to try to see if unit economics make sense. Is this company operating efficiently? We're also going to be trying to understand how much cash do they actually need to hit the next major milestone, and how do they compare to the rest of the market? But let's dive in. We have a finance section here. We also have traction. We can list out and the details, the revenue model, the unit economics. You can add pictures here. So if you want to just take a screenshot of your financials statements, you can. My recommendation out the gate is try to spend time here on the traction section. This is what we need to understand about how we're growing, some of the primary metrics that matter to us. Here's how fast we're growing. Here's how many users we're getting on. Here's where people are talking to us. And that market that we talked about, are they actually adopting this product? What are they actually saying about our product, etc. If you get to a point where you actually can build out your financials, we actually have a tab called Financial. It's a very simple P&L statement in which you can, on a quarterly basis, list out how you've been growing as a company, and it's displayed in an annual basis. We just try to keep it very straightforward. Revenue, cost of goods sold, gross profit, expenses related to that, any other weird expenses, net income, cash balance. When you look at something like this, you're just trying to understand, why are the costs there and do they make sense? The other thing that you can do too is you can add random metrics. So this is going to be super important, especially if you don't have any financials. You can add 3 different metrics that are important to you. At the end of the day, what we really care about is this company going to be growing. And also we need to be cautious about what is the runway. What are we actually trying to accomplish when we look at the financials page? The reality is we're trying to understand, does the venture math work? So if we go back to our financials, one of the interesting things that we've created here is also a valuations tab. Now, the valuations tab is your way in which you can kind of track how much money that you've raised, and you're going to be able to see the different investment rounds and their valuations. And one of the unique things that we've kind of created is when you add a round, for example, if you're going to say, I'm going to raise a Series C round, I'm going to raise $10 million, I'm going to have a $100 million valuation. What actually happens is we can detail when you raised, and then we can also list out, the round details, but then we have the exit assumptions. And this section is the venture math. And this is going to help you really decide, does the math make sense? So in order for a $1 million investment at an $11 million valuation, we need this company to then grow to this revenue, and we need a valuation at this exit in order for that venture investment to make sense. Now, what do I do with some of these numbers? Well, first off, we have the year-over-year growth goals. for this specific round. We need to be making sure that we're growing at minimum 45% year over year, which means that if we go back to our financials, we can see the growth rate that's tracked over time. Growth rate is going to tell us is if this is above 45%, that means we are hitting our mark. If you're an investor, what's also interesting is that you can see the same type of information when it comes to your existing portfolio companies. So if your portfolio companies, you're able to select the source data from your financial document, you can pull it into your dashboard, and then you can keep track of which company's on track or one of my companies is not hitting the growth marks that they should be hitting. And we actually created this action items for investors. This also is true for founders as well, where if you look here, you can actually say, hey, this is companies not hitting their growth goals. We need to reach out because we have growth issues. So now let's go back to the valuations tab. Now ask yourself, when you start to play around with these exit assumptions, what you're going to do is say, okay, how do I know if this is even possible? And this is why we've created an exits tab. If you go to the research database, you can actually look at the exits and you can break it down on a per industry basis. And you can see what is the average acquisition size for companies in the space? What is the average market cap? What are the IPO multiples? Okay, let's be honest. Is there an exit market for this? Is there liquidity? How much money are companies paying for the acquisitions of these startups? What is the market cap of those companies? But when we go back to our valuation table, this is how much we're trying to raise. Is it even obtainable to get to this valuation exit? Maybe I need to change the parameters here. Having that honesty and that clarity, especially before you approach a product, is going to be key. And then the last thing here is that we have a cap table. This is also going to be super helpful for you to list all the different investors that have invested in each round, the share price that you bought at, what is your fully diluted ownership like. So let's go back. Does the venture math work? What we tried to show you is, hey, we have a way to value companies and we have a way to look back at our research database to see whether or not that valuation is practical. You have now a practical way in which as a founder and as an investor, you can have a reasonable conversation about valuation. So let's go back to the cycle, right? Maybe we got to this point where we say, hey, company's too expensive. It doesn't seem practical for this investment to work. Sometimes this is where the buck stops, and that's okay. If it does seem like a great deal, great. Now we can finally reflect on where we got to, which is the story. So if you're a founder, this is your story. If you're an investor, this is your thesis. We were able to communicate to the community. We have a differentiated product. We have something that's unique and new, and we understand how it works. There is a massive market for it. There's momentum there, and we see it and we know how to capture it. We have a team. The team gets it. They built this product. They see the market opportunity, and we have a plan of action to actually get there. And then we have financials. We have a plan of action to getting there that seems practical and evaluation that makes sense. If you have, and you've gotten to this point, this is the winning piece of the puzzle. So then you ask me, okay, great. I did this. I built the due diligence document. What's next? This is now where we move on to validating our thesis. Now you have to go out to the network and say, hey, I have a deal. I have something that I think you guys would be really excited about. I have a good story. I have a good thesis, but the work isn't done there yet. What you really need to do is you need to validate what you've created. We're going to try to reach out to people in the network, connect with them, share your due diligence document, have other people review your due diligence document, give a score. That's why I showed you the scoring mechanism earlier. And that's why we have the comment section so you can answer the remaining unknowns. So now if you're a founder, how are you going to go about doing that? Well, we have a network page. In that network page, you're going to be able to go and find different investors. And for those investors, you can actually literally reach out and say, apply. You can tell them about your financing round. When you apply, what ends up happening is for an investor, they're going to see you in their inbound. And the investor has the ability to decide if they want to accept that opportunity or decline. And then we try to give you as a founder an update of whether or not they've accepted, declined, or you're in their pipeline. You're going to be able to filter out the different investors that you're looking for based on the industry that you're in. We also have groups. So if you want to reach out to investor or corporate groups, you can go and also get onto their pipeline. If I'm an investor, I can also network with other investors. I can see if we actually have similar portfolio companies. I could connect with them. I could see if we're going to similar events. I could see if we have kind of the same pipeline. I have the ability to chat directly with other investors if I wanted to, if we're connected. If I'm a part of a group, I can see what kind of conversations I'm having with groups. Groups also can have conversations directly with founders from different startups. If you are an investor and you want to add startups to your pipeline, you can add companies directly from our network page. You can add it to your personal pipeline. You can add it to your group's pipeline if you're working together. My recommendation actually is probably spending more time on the research page. You can filter out startups by looking at the total companies of all the startups in a specific industry. You can rank it by score. You can look at our top picks. You can look at companies that have gotten strategic fundings. If you're excited about a trend, focus on those companies, add them to your dashboard. When you add companies to your dashboard as an investor, they're going to show up in your prospects tab, and you can move them through the prospect tab down here. Companies that are going to try to apply to you and reach out, they're going to show up on your inbound page. You decide if you want to move them through or not. If you are a part of a group, companies will apply to your group, and you can decide if you're a group member, you can vote yes or no, and then the group owner can decide if they want to move them through the pipeline. So I've already just showed you how you can reach out to, if you're a founder, reach out to investors that are already in our platform and get on their dashboard, get in their pipeline after you've gone through this process. I've also showed you, if you're an investor, how to add companies to your dashboard, whether you're working together as a group or working together individually. Now, but let's really take a step back here too. One of the things that we're trying to do at Startup Innovation Network, beyond just helping the community get better connected, we're also trying to make it sure that we can provide better access to capital. We have an external fund where we're actually going to be looking at companies that are looking access to capital, who are not only reaching out to people that are on our ecosystem, but are also curious to see whether or not our external fund would be interested in funding their business. And the same is true for aspiring VCs. If you want to be a VC and find a way to be a scout, or have the opportunity to get access to deals that you're excited about and be paid like a partner, we have programs for that. So let me show you exactly how you can do this. From a founder's perspective, we already showed you can connect with the investors on our platform. You also can click this button up here on your dashboard where it says Access Capital or Apply. Once you apply, you'll go back to your dashboard and you'll actually see Startup Innovation Network as a group directly in your dashboard. If you're an angel investor or you're an aspiring investor, you'd like to get access to capital for this deal and fund that deal, you can do the exact same thing. We have a button here that you can click. And when you click on that button, you have the ability to essentially enter in information and details about that company and your rationale about why they should receive funding. And then when you go back to your dashboard, all the companies that you refer to our fund would go into your applied tab. Our goal here is so that way we can do two different programs. We're going to have a scout program, which offers carry, just like similar to that of what you get as a partner for deals that we are excited about and we close on. We also have a management program where essentially we're carrying you as a contract over a 2-year period to help that company grow to that next level. And that scales directly with assets under management and the work required. And so all of this is a way in which for aspiring investors to have the opportunity to be a VC. So at the end of the day, join us. We'd love for you to join the Startup Innovation Network. To be successful, we've already gave you the whole game plan. Build out your due diligence document, follow that process step by step, build out the perfect thesis or story, use the ecosystem to reach out, use the ecosystem in the dashboard to manage your relationships. And at the end of the day, if I could take one feedback to give to the entire community, is we want you to win. We really do. And we really hope that you can leverage this opportunity and this platform to get the insights and the knowledge in the network that you're going to need to win. So join the Startup Innovation Network. We can't wait for you to participate.